Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Good Monday morning to you. Thanks for waking up with us here on Sunrise. Olivia Russell and Tawana Andrew here, joined by Shannon Kogan. She's live in French Lick, and Josh Ninke. We're celebrating all things total solar eclipse, and today we have live coverage from both Indiana and Kentucky, getting ready for all of the excitement. So we'll be checking in with both Shannon and Josh later with more on the events and safety information for people who want to catch a look. But first, we've got Tawana Andrew here, and we have eclipse glasses.
It's hard to get it through the hair, but yes, we got the glasses going on.
And we can't see anything. I can't even see our bright lights in the studio.
And that is how we know that they're right. That's how we know we got the real ones. If you can't see any light through them, especially just looking at your lamp in your home, you're good. You're good. A flashlight shining that through it as well is a good way to make sure that you have a real one, because there's some fake ones going around, and of course we'll be talking about that throughout the morning. But what we're dealing with right now as we're looking up is watching some rain coming down. We're watching some of these light showers still in portions of Carroll County. But that's really all we got going on. Once that's out, we are dry for a while. Now the clouds, I know that's what everybody wants to know. How many of these clouds are going to be lasting through the afternoon? Well, we're mainly going to be talking about some upper level clouds through the late morning and into the afternoon. Those thin, high clouds that you still see the sun through, that is what we're looking at. Keep in mind, right now it looks like the further north you go, the more thin and sparse they will be. Keep in mind, any low level clouds that we see as we head towards totality can actually start to fade a little bit, so we'll be keeping an eye on that overall. Now, rain chances. While we're drying out right now, we do have to keep an eye on the chance for a couple of isolated downpours later on this afternoon. That is something we'll watch very, very closely, mainly for those of you in Kentucky. Temperatures in the 50s for most of us right now, but as we head into the afternoon, easily climbing into the 70s for your highs. And we can even see a little bit of a temperature drop later on this afternoon during totality across portions of our region.
Now, that's always so cool to experience. And hey, we're keeping an eye on the roads, especially Indiana, because so many people will be traveling to the path of totality. So there's a look at some of our Indiana traffic cameras. Doesn't look like we have many people eager out there this morning. I'm sure they'll get moving later, or hey, maybe they're already there. But looking around the metro, everything looking all clear on our traffic map this morning. A phenomenon that is out of this world, literally, and you have to see it to believe it. Today, people everywhere will have their eyes on the skies for the total solar eclipse. The rare astrological event has millions of people traveling from all over to the path of totality for the breathtaking experience. The Wave team is following them all over our viewing area. Wave News anchor Shannon Kogan is live in French Lick this morning. She's breaking down everything that people need to know today before the sky goes dark. Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning to you. I smell bacon. They're cooking it up here. People are going to be getting up. They have a lot of special activities planned for all day long here at French Lick. And maybe you're watching and you're thinking, oh, you know what? I didn't make plans, but now I really, really want to be in the path of totality. So you can come on out here to French Lick. They're opening it up to everyone. You do not have to be a hotel guest. There are 2 spots where you can watch with lots of fun activities, things for the kids, even pickleball games. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We did talk to the Orange County Sheriff here, who said they're expecting a lot of people, and they've been preparing for this for a year now.
So my biggest tip would be come up to Orange County and enjoy the beautiful view and try to stay on the highway.
Yeah, that's his big tip. Don't pull off on the side of the highway to view the total solar eclipse. Extremely dangerous, so don't do that. But come on out here, have a great time. Paoli Peaks, he said, also has some special viewing areas. And just a reminder, when you are looking up and it's still a partial solar eclipse, you do need those special glasses that Olivia and Tawana were talking about. In the weeks leading up to this event, scammers have actually been trying to sell some fake glasses, but that can cause permanent eye damage. One way to make sure they're real is by looking on the inside of the frame. It'll say it fits the qualification. So when I look inside these Wave glasses, it says FDA approved. The BBB recommends also make sure your glasses are legitimate. If you still have glasses from the 2017 eclipse, don't use them if they're bent, ripped, or scratched. So what would happen if you viewed the partial solar eclipse without wearing those special glasses? Well, it can cause permanent eye damage. The sun's bright rays can actually burn the cells in the retina at the back of your eye. The retina does not have pain receptors, so you won't feel the damage as it is happening. And once the cells die, they do not come back. Symptoms of solar eye damage include blurred vision and color distortion. There's no set rule for how long of a glance can lead to permanent damage too, and severity varies based on cloudiness, air pollution, and a person's vantage point. Doctors say looking at the solar eclipse for even a few seconds unprotected is not worth it.
Excess light and ultraviolet light is too strong for your cells to recover from it. It's basically just like you said, you are burning your cells, just like looking at the laser. You can burn them, injure them right away, but you can just hurt them, and it might take a while for the cells to die and lose their function.
Eclipse eye-related injuries can show up hours or days after exposure too, and again, don't count on using your regular sunglasses. That will not protect your eyes. In 2017, a woman who looked at the eclipse without wearing the right protection had to go to Mount Sinai's New York Eye and Ear Hospital complaining of a black spot in her vision, and they discovered their retinal damage that corresponded to the eclipse shape. Experts say there are reports too of other incidents after every solar eclipse, and they actually saw dozens of extra visits after the last eclipse in 2017. They stress again, everyday sunglasses won't cut it. Now, if you don't have eclipse glasses, there are some other things you can do. You can make a pinhole projector using some household materials. Poke a hole through a piece of cardboard or cardstock, hold it up during the eclipse, and then look down to see a partial crescent projected below. Holding up a colander or a cracker will produce a similar effect. You can also look at the ground under a shady tree. That way you'll look at the shadows as the sunlight filters through branches and leaves. But also, you don't really want to use your phone because that can damage your digital components as well. Also, researchers say you need to be careful on the roads because listen to this, they did a study and they took a look at how many more accidents there were during a solar eclipse. An analysis from the last one in 2017 found about a 30% uptick in traffic accidents. They also found increased risk in the hours before and after the moment of totality. The hours after the eclipse were especially dangerous with an almost 50% higher traffic risk than average. That year, about 20 million people traveled to another city to view the eclipse. And if you're in Indiana, INDOT is encouraging people to get to where they want to be early, stay there, and then give it a little bit of time after to leave. That'll help deal with the massive amount of traffic expected. More than 100,000 visitors are expected in Indianapolis alone. You can also use 511in.org or INDOT TrafficWise app to see if there are any road closures or crashes along the way. The Orange County Sheriff told me that they do expect traffic to be a bit of a mess right after the eclipse. So he said, give it a couple of hours if you can to leave. So I'm so excited. So come on out and join me here at French Lick if you haven't made plans yet, or if you want to learn more about the total solar eclipse and stay in Louisville, head to the Kentucky Science Center, and that's where Josh Ninke is live right now.
Hey Shannon, this is a great place to come check out the eclipse today. I've got Justin joining me here to walk through a little bit of the science. Shannon was just telling us a bit about how you can look at the eclipse in some different ways, and you're going to show us how that works.
Absolutely, yeah. So, first best way we want to try to look at it is using our eclipse glasses, right? So, free pair of glasses with admission to the Science Center today while supply lasts. Big shout out to NASA Kentucky for helping make that happen. But let's say you can't get your hands on some glasses, last minute, but it's happening right now. It happens between 1:50 and about 3:50, and the moon is covered in the sun. All you need to do, run in your kitchen, run to a sandbox, grab a sand sifter or a colander of some sort. Sure. And all you need to do is hold with the sun at your back, hold that up to some sort of surface. It can be the ground that works, but it's best if you can have like a nice piece of cardboard or a whiteboard of some sort.
Great idea.
And what's going to happen is that shadow is going to shine through, put those holes on it, and what you'll see is each one of those holes slowly close as the moon is covering.
I remember that in 2017. That is the wildest thing.
It is crazy. It's like almost having dozens of solar eclipses happen right in front of your eyes. We're also going to be handing out, though, let's say you get here a little late and we're out of glasses.
Yeah.
We also are going to have these pinhole punches, and what you can actually make these at home with a paper plate. 3 different pinholes on any sort of piece of paper or cardboard. You can hold that up as well. And what you're going to do is, as you kind of get it nicely adjusted until you have those 3 different circles, you're going to have the same effect. You're going to have that moon covering those holes as it moves across. It's a really cool effect to see.
Yeah, so what you maybe can't see is it's a square, circle, and a triangle. So when it's real close, you see this distinct shapes. You pull it out, and then when you get the full circles, that's when you're getting the best view.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a lot of fun. There's other things to be thinking about, too. You can also look at leaves from trees and the sun coming through and those shadows. You'll see kind of a crescent shadow.
Yeah.
And that's that moon covering the sun at the same time. It's a really cool effect.
Very cool. Like you said, things are happening here at the Kentucky Science Center from 1 to 4:30. Should be a whole lot of fun. So live here in downtown Louisville, Josh Stinky, Wave News. Back to you, Shannon.
Thank you so much, Josh. Okay, so there are 13 states that are in the path of totality, including Indiana. So this is a graphic that was shared by NASA, and it shows the eclipse starting in Mexico around noon local time. Inside of the black circle is totality, or 100% blockage of the sunlight. Dallas will get totality about 1:41 this afternoon. Then it moves into Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, southern Illinois. Indianapolis will see totality around 3:06 p.m. for about 4 minutes. Ohio will start to see totality from Hamilton and Harrison to Dayton around 3:10. Then it's Cleveland, New York, and it ends in Maine and Canada around 3:30. When it's all said and done, the eclipse will happen along the path of totality from Texas to Maine in a 1-hour span. Small parts of Tennessee and Michigan will also experience the total solar eclipse. And here in French Lick, we expect totality to be around 3:04, 3:05. It's going to last 3 minutes and 5 seconds. And just a reminder, we will invite you to join us right here on Wave for our eclipse special. We'll be on from 2 to 4. So if you're at home, you can still see the total solar eclipse. Tawana.
Yeah, so just make sure that you are tuned in if you are not heading out. And for those of you heading out, make sure that you are staying safe. For today, we're keeping an eye on the clouds, and we're going to be talking about a mix of sun and clouds as we head into the afternoon, mainly talking high clouds, those thin upper level clouds for the afternoon hours. But once totality is over, we're going to be keeping an eye on some rain chances, trying to pop. I'll break down those chances and our rain chances for the rest of the week on the other side of the break.
Thanks, Tawana. 6:11 now. People in Prospect still cleaning up debris after a severe weather and tornadoes touched down in the area. How to get rid of any of that debris is next on Sunrise. Louisville and Prospect have teamed up to help people get rid of debris from last week's storms. Public Works and contractors in Prospect will be cleaning up the area soon. They'll start debris collection for the zip code 40059 on April 15th. To make sure everything gets picked up, separate debris from vegetation and put it on the curb. Make sure it's on whatever grassy area is closest to the roadway while not blocking any drains or fire hydrants, and make sure to not bag it. The curbside pickup is completely free. But between that severe weather last week and the eclipse weather today, Tawana, our weather team has been busy. And we have more rain on the way for later on this week, so we're going to stay busy. Basically, it won't be until after Derby that we finally get to sit down, I think. But for those of you heading out right now, keeping an eye on an area of low pressure off towards our northwest, and a couple of fronts draped across the region right now. But what we have going on here at home, much drier conditions. We started off the morning with some showers pushing through. We just have some clouds overhead, and that is it to start off the day. You can see the ground a little bit wet as the storm tracker is traveling around, but everything is quiet early on this Monday morning. Temperatures have dropped, so we're sitting mainly in the 50s across the region, ranging from 54 in Hardinsburg to 52 into Madison, 54 as well for those of you in Campbellsville and Columbia, but 48 right now, a little bit cooler in Seymour. Across the metro, seeing temperatures ranging from 50 degrees in Sellersburg to 57 for those of you in Fairdale, and 51 right now in Crestwood. So now we've gotten rid
of the rain. What next? Well, we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds as the rest of the day goes along. In fact, once we head into the afternoon, seeing a lot more of that blue sky showing up, and that is why by lunch we should be into the upper 60s and low 70s. But through the afternoon, we'll actually add back in some clouds. These will mainly be really these upper level clouds. Those thin, high, wispy clouds should still be able to easily see the sun through it. But keep in mind, the further north you are in southern Indiana, the better your chance to see more clear skies and more blue sky around totality later on this afternoon for the eclipse. Then we get just past the eclipse. After a slight drop during totality, temperatures start to rebound into those low to mid 70s, for your highs as we watch for some isolated downpours across our region. So a couple of thunderstorms rolling through around dinner time, keeping these rounds of rain into tonight. And after midnight, everything clears out. We keep the clouds overhead and temperatures fall down into the 50s across our region. Let's talk about the next 10 days, because what we're going to see as we get into tomorrow, a quiet start and then more rain on the way. Most of the rain shows up as we approach lunch tomorrow. So the morning commute on your Tuesday, just fine. Then as we get towards 10, 11, noon tomorrow, this is when that rain, some downpours taking over our region, keeping those rounds of rain through the afternoon and into the evening. A little bit of a dry spell for us before more rain moves in for Wednesday into Thursday. The reason that we start to see more rain across the area is this area of low pressure just throwing these additional showers and thunderstorms into our area for your Wednesday and Thursday. It's not till Friday morning that we start to really dry out. So with several days of on and off rain, these totals can really start to add up. We can see totals between 2 and 3 inches across our region. Keep in mind, though, is that we could see some locally higher totals. And with this much rain in this short of a time span, this could lead to some localized flooding concerns by the end of the week. Once we get into the upcoming weekend, things quiet across wave country as we warm back into the 70s for highs. So the weekend looking amazing across the region. Then as we get into next week, starting off pretty toasty with some highs near 80, and we'll add in some rain chances that will help to cool us down by next Wednesday.
Thanks, Tawana. A lawsuit that could end with a Bob Baffert-trained horse in this year's Kentucky Derby is set to be discussed in court today. Arkansas Derby winner Muth's owners, Zidane Racing Stables, have filed a lawsuit against Churchill Downs to try and get the colt into the starting gate. Baffert has not been allowed to run any of his horses at Churchill Downs since 2021. Odds makers at sportsbetting.ag say Muth would be set at 7-2 odds if he were allowed to join the Derby field. Baffert was suspended after Kentucky Derby winner Medina Spirit was disqualified for failing a post-race drug test. The lawsuit says the suspension is a personal vendetta against Baffert. Churchill Downs says lifting Baffert's suspension now would threaten the safety and integrity of races at Churchill Downs. 6:19 now. A lot of people are getting ready to hit the road ahead of today's eclipse. But what actually causes an eclipse to happen? Tawana is telling us the science behind it next on Sunrise.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots.
So we have, of course, that eclipse happening later on today. And for a lot of us, we've been focused in on the weather and the impact on our ability to see it. So why do we even have eclipses anyway? As we have, of course, our planet rotating around the sun and the moon rotating around our planet, sometimes you end up with the perfect timing for that moon to move smack in between the sun and the planet Earth. And that is what allows us to enjoy and really just gaze at, carefully, a total solar eclipse. So what are we going to see as the day goes along? So we're going to watch the partial eclipse beginning for Louisville around 1:49 p.m. We get closer to 3:07, and it's going to be closer to 99% of the eclipse at this point. So we'll start to see things darken, and we'll see part of the sun's corona. And then as we approach 4:22, everything wraps up, and we'll be back to some sunshine with some clouds overhead, mainly talking some upper level clouds and keeping an eye on a small rain chance for the afternoon. But as you head further north into Indiana, drier conditions are expected. So the further north you are, the better your chance just to get to enjoy this eclipse on its own, including into Seymour, where we start to see everything beginning closer to 1:49 p.m. and then everything maxing out between 3:06 and 3:09. Full totality, absolutely beautiful. And then things start to get back to normal where we see more of that sunshine by 4:23 when everything ends. A couple of things that can happen during the eclipse weather-wise, because we're always talking about our ability to see the eclipse, of course, right? But some cool ways that the eclipse can impact our weather. One, we'll see the temperatures dropping a bit during the eclipse, especially in full totality. We'll watch for humidity actually going up a bit during totality as well, the wind relaxing, and some fun things you can actually notice the birds and animals start to act a little bit different, but they'll be back to normal, acting like a really pleasant afternoon once everything wraps up after 4 o'clock. Olivia?
So cool to see how everything happens like that. Thanks, Tawana. Well, Louisville also has a history with eclipses involving Louisville baseball, and the history goes back further than 1882. In 1858, two teams formed in Louisville, the Louisville Club and the Louisville Eclipse Club. The Eclipse Club led to the 1880 Eclipse semi-professional team, which played at Eclipse Park in the West End. In 1882, the first professional team by the same name joined the American League, officially bringing Louisville into the world of Major League Baseball. So today, the museum is taking the time to celebrate moments in history.
We are always eclipse crazy here at the museum, and obviously Louisville Slugger has quite the tie to the eclipse, with the iconic name being named after Pete Browning, who played for the Louisville Eclipse, and lo and behold, his nickname, of course, was the Louisville Slugger.
Pete Browning being the first person to ever swing what would become the iconic Louisville Slugger bat. So to celebrate, the museum made special eclipse bats that glow in the dark. One theory behind the name of the Louisville Eclipse Club is that it's a callback to the total solar eclipse of 1869, which included Louisville in the path of totality. What a cool connection there. It's 6:27 now. Our coverage of all things eclipse continues with more things you need to know, including how to tell if your glasses are real or fake. That's next at 6:30.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
6:30, and we are just hours away from the Great American Eclipse. People coming from all over, going to areas like French Lick in Indiana, where Sunrise anchor Shannon Kogan is this morning, and more local, like the Kentucky Science Center, where Josh Ninke will be showing us the fun they have planned there. So we'll check in with both of them in just a few minutes. But first, we want to say good morning and happy Eclipse Day. I'm Olivia Russell with meteorologist Tawana Andrew. Oh, it's crazy. You think about, where were you during the last eclipse in 2017?
Yeah. A lot of people are thinking back to that. I was in Hopkinsville, which was like the coolest thing to be at. I got to control the camera as well for Wave.
With the filter on it, and you want to make sure you're protecting your camera.
Yes, don't just do it all willy-nilly, because then you won't end up with a cell phone to take some pictures with down the road. So you want to make sure that you're protecting your eyes and your cameras, but also, if you're going to be enjoying this, paying close attention to the Wave weather app. What we're seeing right now, the rain is out of our region, and we still have some clouds hanging overhead. Temperature's pretty comfortable, sitting mainly in the 50s, 50 in Seymour, 51 into E-Town, 59 degrees at the airport in Louisville. Over the next 12 hours, here's what we're going to be looking at. Temperatures jumping into the 70s for your highs, and we'll see a mix of sun and clouds for most of the day. These clouds that we're going to see as the rest of the morning and early afternoon continue will mainly be upper level clouds, so we'll still get a decent amount of sunshine through it all, but keep the rain gear handy, especially for later on this afternoon into the evening. Once you get past 4 or 5 o'clock, we'll start to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms moving through parts of the region, mainly though across Kentucky, Indiana. You look to stay on the drier side of right now, but you could always track it all in the Wave weather app. Something else that you'll have to keep in mind as you're out and about for today will be the very high pollen counts across the area. So just keep that in mind if you have allergies, and if you're visiting the area and you don't normally have allergies and you're wondering why your throat's a little itchy, this may be why. With extra rain moving in for Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll watch those pollen counts dropping, but then they're expected to rebound once we get towards the upcoming weekend. So still some sneezing going on, Olivia.
Very high pollen on a day when we're all going to be outside. What's up with that? Come on, Mother Nature. Can't have a perfect day, I guess. Hey, taking a look at our traffic this morning, you can see traffic map across the metro looking all clear. You love to see that, but we know that with so many people on the roads, it could affect as you drive around later on throughout the day. People probably sleeping in a little bit, giving themselves ourselves time to get up to Indiana. But as you can see there on our Metro traffic cameras, not too many people moving at 6:33 on your Monday morning. But today, people in the path of totality will be looking to the skies for the total solar eclipse. Millions of people will travel for the experience. People in Wave Country are also getting ready for the big event, including Wave News anchor Shannon Kogan. She's live in French Lick this morning, breaking down all we need to know for the total solar eclipse. We are so excited, Shannon.
I know, and they're really excited here at French Lick. They have a lot of activities going on. They even have a special cocktail for the eclipse, and they're even going to have a 5K run this morning at 9, and everyone is invited out here. They're going to have public viewing areas, 2 of them, so you don't have to be a hotel guest to witness this. But this is going to be such a bonding experience, I hear, for so many people. They are excited about this because the next solar eclipse isn't until 2044, so you'd have to wait a long time. We spoke to 2 sisters who came to French Lick from Cincinnati.
It was surreal. It was when it got, in totality, everything went quiet. The birds stopped singing. There was tranquility. It was just a neat experience.
Laura said, you know, do you want to go? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. I've never seen it. I thought it would be fascinating, so I'm excited about it.
I was like, we're gonna see what? And then I was like, jumping up and down and like running around the room, and I was just so excited.
That is Jack. He is here with about 30 family members. They came from 3 different states. They're having a big family reunion here for the total solar eclipse. And a reminder, you need to make sure you have these special eclipse glasses, because if you're heading out to watch the solar eclipse and you don't have those glasses, it is not safe to look at the sun. Also, be on the lookout for fake ones too. Let me show you this. These are 2 different glasses. The orange frame glasses at the top, those are counterfeit, and they come with black sunglass-like lenses that have straight left and right edges. But real eclipse glasses, like the pair at the bottom, have reflective lenses with curved left and right edges. According to the American Astronomical Society, the counterfeit glasses may be hard to spot. All right, let me go to Josh Ninke right now. He is at the Kentucky Science Center, where they also have a lot of special events for the day. Josh.
Shannon, this is going to be a very cool place to watch all the fun happening if you don't want to get out of Louisville. I got Justin joining us here to walk us through a little bit of the science of what's going on today.
Absolutely.
So what do we have here?
So this is what we call our gravity well. And so this is actually a great visual representation. It's tough for us to kind of wrap our minds around planets spinning around each other and the moon going around the Earth, and how exactly can a solar eclipse even happen? Why don't they happen all the time?
Right? Yeah.
They're all spinning around each other, right? Well, this is a good representation. What we're going to do, we're going to use this very heavy ball here. This is going to be our sun.
Okay.
And we're going to put that right in the middle. And this is actually how the sun sits in our universe. It sits and it kind of pulls down a kind of fabric, if you will, of our universe. Einstein, this is kind of some of the research he was working on. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a couple balls here, and we have different weights. And what we can do is just toss them around. And as you start to see, they start to get into orbit around. Go ahead and toss some of those in there at the same time. Yeah. And you can see they start to even draw a little bit near each other. And one of the things you can even notice while you're doing this is that they don't necessarily always have a perfect circle. Right? They kind of sometimes go a little oval shape, a little this way, a little that way. Sometimes when you have multiples going at once, they start to draw each other near each other at the same time, and you start to create little orbits within each other. It's really, really cool. And so because of those different orbit shapes, because of the way they move and how long it takes some of those planets to make those revolutions all the way around the sun, that's how we had to get those solar eclipses every now and then. So we were lucky enough to have one 7 years ago. We have one today. We have our glasses ready to go. Come on by the Science Center to get a free glass with admission while supply lasts. So we're very excited.
And this is the big stuff's going on from 1 to 4:30.
Yeah, so we have activities all around the Science Center, 1 to 4:30. The actual eclipse is happening about 1:50 to about 3:50.
Okay, nice. So if you want to come check that all out, this is a fantastic way to do it and learn a whole lot of stuff at the same time. Live here at the Kentucky Science Center, Josh Ninke. Wave News, back to you, Shannon.
All right, Thank you so much, Josh. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of people are expected to travel here to Indiana to take in this total solar eclipse, and they've been working for basically the entire year to get ready for this. Indiana state agencies and state police say it could affect you even if you're just going to and from work, though, because there's going to be a lot of extra people on the road. So their tip, plan to arrive early, be prepared to stay there during the actual event, and then expect to leave late. They say they're hoping things are not too bad, and they're working to make sure the roads are as clear as possible.
We're going to treat the Eclipse Day kind of like a holiday where we're going to keep things open or pull back any restrictions that are out there. We've also been asking our contractors to not start working if they can until after Eclipse Day.
Our manpower is going to be focused on our primary area of responsibility, which is our interstates and our state highways, making sure that we can respond to any incidents that happen on the roadways, whether people are having crashes, people are breaking down out of fuel.
Yeah, reminder, make sure you fill up your car because there could be heavy traffic. Also a good idea to maybe have some other supplies, even some food with you in your car. And it is not safe to pull over on the side of the interstate to watch the eclipse. AAA and police departments around the country are also telling drivers, keep your headlights on. Don't photograph the eclipse while you're driving. And again, don't pull over on the side of the road, highway, or interstate to watch it. Also, watch out for pedestrians.
Designated viewing areas are recommended to avoid the dangers of impromptu stops along the highways or exit ramps. Remember, stopping along the side of the roads or exit ramps is prohibited and is also unsafe. So don't stop on the side of highways, don't stop on exit ramps, don't stop in rest areas. Those are going to be where, truckers, they have drive time hours, they need to stop, so try to stay out of those areas.
And another reminder, cell service may be a little bit hard with so many people, or maybe you're in a rural area. So make sure that you know where you're going, maybe even print out a map too. And if you are trying to fly anywhere, just a reminder that the FAA is warning special procedures will be in place through Wednesday. They say there could be some holdings, reroutes, limited parking at airports, flight restrictions, and changes to security too. And in 2017, during that last solar eclipse, a study found that traffic accidents increased by about 30%. About 20 million people traveled in 2017 to see the eclipse. And it was the time before and after totality when people were driving when they had the most accidents. So again, expect delays today, but the path of totality this year is much wider than it was in 2017. So a lot of people don't have to travel as far to see the eclipse. And here at French Lick, the sheriff told me they expect there to be some congestion, so maybe give yourself a couple of hours after the total solar eclipse before you try to head home. So I spoke to one eclipse expert who has witnessed quite a few of them. He said a friend told him that he had to see an eclipse before he died. David Barron wrote a book called American Eclipse. He's already seen 8 solar eclipses. The first one was in Aruba in 1998. He says if this is your first time, his biggest tip, get into the path of totality. Louisville is going to be at 99%. Sure sounds good, right? But he says it's not the same.
In Louisville, it'll be a 99% partial eclipse. That sounds like it's almost as good as a total eclipse, but it really isn't. Imagine you've got tickets to a Taylor Swift concert and you go 99% of the way there and you stop in the parking lot and you never go in. That's the same thing. Unless you're inside the path, you're missing the real show.
I love that analogy to the Taylor Swift concert, right? He says that the corona is like looking like a wreath woven out of silvery thread. He's going to be in Waco, Texas, watching the eclipse today. He said that's where they had the best odds for clear skies, and also the eclipse will last a little bit longer there. Here, we're expecting the total solar eclipse to last about 3 minutes and 5 seconds. And Tawana has seen a few eclipses in her lifetime. This will be my first, and I love your advice to just take it
in. Because it just makes you more appreciative of the planet that we're on, I think, anyway. For those of you heading about your day and you're just like, I don't have time for this eclipse, well, what we're going to be looking at a mix of sun and clouds across the region. Highs jumping into the 70s, and then we'll have to keep an eye on some rain chances for later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. I'll break down those chances after the break.
Hundreds of thousands of people are expected to travel to the Path of Totality this year. It's not unlike what we saw in 2017. Our wave crews headed to Hopkinsville, Kentucky back then for the chance to safely catch a glimpse of the phenomenon. Let's head back to Shannon Kogan, who's holding down the fort in French Lick. Shannon, how did people react to the solar eclipse last time?
Oh my goodness. The words that they used to describe epic, amazing, surreal, astonishing. They just couldn't believe it. Hopkinsville became Eclipseville. Hopkinsville was the point of greatest eclipse. They had about 115,000 people who went there to watch the total solar eclipse. It was a $30 million economic impact. This is some of their reactions.
But it's beautiful. It's something I've never seen before. It takes your breath away. Yeah, it does. It really did.
It gives me goosebumps just talking about what we just experienced and witnessed, because I think it was magical.
I'm a guy and I don't get chills. I got chills. I'm at a loss for words. I am totally at a loss for words. I wish I knew what to say, but I can't.
I love it. Okay, so the eclipse in 2017 there in Hopkinsville, it lasted about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. This year, it will last a little bit longer. The path is also much wider than it was in 2017. It's going to be affecting 13 states around the country. So more people are going to have a chance this year to view this total solar eclipse, guys.
I was actually living in Louisiana. I had just moved to Louisiana for the last solar eclipse, and we did not get really much of anything there, so I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, this one should be really cool. And by the way, the reason that our totality is a little bit longer this time around is because of the moon's proximity to the planet Earth. So things are really special for this eclipse for later on this afternoon. I'll talk about what we're expecting in terms of cloud cover for later on today in just 30 seconds. Happy Monday, meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your forecast. And for today, what we have going on, a couple of fronts nearby, but overall things are quiet now weather-wise across the region. The rain that we had earlier this morning is now well to our east. We're watching the clouds start to break apart, and with the clearer skies, we are starting off with beautiful conditions as we're looking from New Albany east towards downtown Louisville, the beginnings of a downright gorgeous sunrise. Now, with all of this, our temperature is pretty comfortable, sitting mainly in the 50s across our region. 52 in North Vernon, same thing for those of you in E-Town, 55 in Nacordon, and we're seeing 58 degrees right now in Frankfort. Looking into the metro, ranging from 48, that's our cool spot, in Sellersburg to 50 in Crestwood. And for those of you in Shively, good morning. It is currently 51 degrees. So now the skies have cleared out, and it's going to be beautiful with plenty of sunshine throughout the morning. Then we head into the afternoon, we'll start to add in some of these upper level clouds across our region. We get further into the afternoon around 3 p.m. around the time of totality, and more of these upper level clouds are expected across our region. So it'll put a little bit of a haze potentially on some parts of the region in terms of you trying to view the eclipse, but still enough of the clouds clearing for us to get to enjoy it across portions of southern Indiana. By that point, we should be into the upper 60s and the low 70s. We'll warm up even more as the afternoon progresses. After 4 p.m., this is when we'll start to see a couple of isolated downpours popping, but that mainly looks to be across portions of Kentucky. This is where we'll see some of these scattered showers and thunderstorms with some locally heavy downpours. Going to keep these rounds of rain into the evening hours, and then tonight, once we get past midnight, the rain starts to break apart. We start to keep the clouds overhead, and our temperatures will fall down into the 50s across our region. Let's look at the 10-day, because here's what we have going on. Some more of these showers and thunderstorms around for tomorrow. So once we get rid of the overnight storms, early tomorrow morning, cloudy, quiet as we sit in those 50s. But by lunch, here we go. Rain taking over these showers and thunderstorms across the region. Not expecting anything severe, though. Getting into your Tuesday afternoon, the rain becoming a little bit more sparse, but we're still going to keep some rounds of showers through the evening hours. And once we head into Tuesday night, watching another wave of rain trying to push into our region, all because of this area of low pressure that's going to be throwing these rounds of rain towards us through Wednesday into Thursday. And by the time we reach Friday morning, that is when we look to finally fully dry out across our region. So with several days with rounds of rain in the forecast, you want to make sure that you are weather aware, and we'll have to closely watch these rainfall totals because we could see rainfall totals between 2 and 3 inches, and that could cause some minor flooding concerns across parts of our region. So we'll have to keep an eye on it as the week goes along. As we deal with these rounds of rain, highs in the 60s, cooling off as we dry out on your Friday with highs in the 50s and low 60s then, and then we'll quickly warm up over the weekend. The weekend not looking too bad at all. 70s and some sunshine. Hey, I think a lot of us will take that, right? As we get towards tax day on Monday, yes, we have a week until those taxes need to be fully filed. Giving you the heads up right now. Highs near 80 next Monday. Same thing into next Tuesday. Then some rain by the middle of next week will help to cool us down. We'll have much more of Sunrise after the break. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew here with a check of your Monday forecast. So today is a big day, eclipse day, and what we're seeing right now in Indiana, clear skies in the beginning of a beautiful day. Now our temperatures are sitting in the 50s across the board, so a mild start, and we'll easily warm up as the day goes along, eventually ending up in the 70s for your highs for this afternoon. Most of the day will be dry, but as we get into the afternoon hours, this is when we'll see some spotty thunderstorms and showers popping across the area, mainly though for those of you in Kentucky. So Indiana, you look to stay dry. Kentucky, you can see some of those isolated downpours for the afternoon. Everybody though gets in on the rain chances for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even potentially into the first half of your Friday. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Now the weekend still looking pretty good on your 10-day with 70s and some sunshine. But then as we head into next week, we start off with warmth and then we'll end up with some more rain coming our way.
But hey, looking at your morning commute so far, everything looking pretty clear out there. You love to see that. But let's look at our metro traffic cameras. You can see that cars are out there. It's almost 7 o'clock, so things will start to get busy with people heading to work and also heading to Indiana to view the eclipse. So just for fun, let's take a look at our Indiana traffic cameras there. So some shiny roads there from some of the rain. So if you are heading up to Indiana to view the eclipse, just make sure you're safe out there on the roads.
Yeah, remember, use your glasses during everything. Keep your eyes safe. See, Shannon's got them. Everyone's looking pretty stylish. Mine is across the room somewhere.
They're hard to keep on your face, though.
They are hard to put on. Yeah, they are. But when you're in totality, you can take them off and then be able to look up. And I'm so excited for that moment. I can't wait.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great Solar Eclipse Monday.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more.